What's going on, guys? I'm Bill and welcome to Bill's How To. Today we're going to be testing out two different styles of hole saws to see just how much difference, if any, there is between the two. I'm absolutely sick of my hole saws running blunt super quick. The first one we're going to be comparing is this 19 carbide teeth hole saw. Now this one here is traditionally what you would see and use. And we're going to be comparing it with this one right here with more of a unique, newer design, and it's only got 3 tungsten cutting teeth or edges. Let's get straight into it, guys. Let's do this. So we've got 3 main styles of hole saws. This one here is the cheapest option, coming in at about $25. You can see it's very worn out. Believe it or not, this was only used about 5 to 6 times, and it's absolutely burning the material now. This one here is a bimetal, cheapest option you've got out there. If you want to use this just once off and you probably never use it again, this is going to be the one that you'd go for. However, I need something to last a lot longer, so I'm going to be testing out these two right here. We've got our carbide one, which has 19 teeth. I went around and counted every single one. So 19 carbide teeth, and we're going to be comparing it with this newer style here that traditionally I honestly thought was designed for cement board. However, believe it or not, this is designed for pretty much all the material that this one here can go with, including nails and ceramic tiles. We're not going to be testing the ceramic tiles today. However, I'm very curious to know how well this one here is going to cut. So this one here cost about $40 and this one here cost me about $28. So if you look at the pricing, this one here is the most expensive, the cheapest, and mid-range, which is going to be very interesting to test out. So let's not waste any time. We've got some 19 mil pine here. We're going to initially just try and drill a hole straight through using this one, and then we're going to follow it through with our tungsten 3 teeth, compare the two and see just how well they cut. Then I'm going to go through and drill as many holes as I can to see just how long they last. So we'll start off with the carbide, drill one hole here, and then we'll move on to the tungsten on the other side. I just want to compare the two in terms of speed, how clean the hole is, blowout on the bottom, and I'm not going to put too much pressure. Just let this one here eat through on its own because it is a fresh bit, and that means there's a good chance it's going to kick on me anyway. Go through our first hole. Alright, so that started off fairly quick and then just did slow down as the timber got lodged into the hole saw, so it did slow down. If we have a look at the bottom here, or right on the lip, not sure if you guys can see there, but there is a little bit of extra meat on that block of timber. I might actually pop this one here out and show you guys. That way you can see how to extract it. This one here has a lot of different holes, so you just simply put the screwdriver in, pop it up, all different angles, and that'll come up. Now if we have a look at this one here, we'll flip the piece over later and check the back, but you can see that little bit of extra meat all the way around. So that meat has obviously come off from the bottom. That means we've got a bit of blowout on the bottom here. What I'll do is I'll actually mark this one here so we can compare it. That's number 1 there. Alright, so now we're going to test this one here out, exactly the same, minimal pressure, and see how well this one here works. That's actually very interesting. It's got a very different method of cutting. This one here almost grinds it down, so you can hear that little, don't even know how to explain that noise. It's just like almost grinding away at the material, almost like when you're drilling through masonry. Very interesting. In terms of blowout, I think this one here's got minimal, but it does have a little bit of chipping around there. So once again, we'll test this one here out, see how easy it comes up. That comes out much easier. Remembering number 1's on this side, so we'll flip it. You can see that blowout there. Generally when I'm drilling holes anyway, I never drill all the way through. I'll drill through halfway with the hole saw. Then once a pilot bit goes through the other side, flip it around, and then we drill through the back side of it. That way we're going to make sure we get a nice clean cut. I'm going to try that once more. I've gone through halfway. What I do is I put the pilot bit straight through the hole because we've already created that little hole for it. Line that one there up and then drill from the bottom. This one here comes out nice and easy. We'll swap over to our other hole saw and do the exact same. This is just an easy way to make sure that you prevent blowout. We'll lock this one here in place. Alright, we'll do the same thing here. So go through halfway, come back through the other side. And now if we have a look at the back sides, obviously we've got a clean hole here. We look at the back section and you can see there we've got two nice clean holes. That's obviously the bit of tape here. But compared to this side here is much, much better. In terms of cleanliness, I think the carbide teeth works a lot better. So now I'm going to create holes all the way along this piece here to give me a good idea as to how long or how durable these ones here are. We should hopefully get about 15 to 20 holes, I'm assuming, and that'll give me a good idea as to how durable these little drill bits here are. So I'm going to go through with the tungsten one first with the 3 teeth, and then I'll flip the piece around and then we'll try out our carbide and see if there's any significant difference. Alright, so we've gone all the way now. What have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So we've got 16 holes here with this 3-tooth tungsten bit, and to be 100% honest, in terms of speed, it doesn't seem like it's dropped off at all. It feels like it was brand new out of the packaging. However, what I don't like about this is the initial bite that it has. I've tried a couple times along the way to try and slow down that pilot bit as the hole saw goes through, but it seems to be very, very difficult to control it on the initial bite, and then all of a sudden it just explodes and starts drilling through and eating really, really well. We'll see what the blowout's going to be in a second once we flip this around. Overall, this one here is awesome so far, but I think it's really depends on your application. I think this one here is more designed for not so much of a fine finish. I think plumbers would absolutely love this thing. Let's flip this one here around and we'll do the exact same thing using our carbide teeth. Alrighty, so that took a lot longer than expected. I can pretty much tell you guys from now exactly what's going on. So let's compare these two bits first and foremost. So let's have a look. This one here is just straight off there. You can see there's a lot of wear on it. It doesn't like the heat whatsoever. So doing a lot of holes like this honestly takes its toll on it. However, it is doing much, much, much better than the bimetal. This one here almost looks like brand new still. It does cut through very, very fast. I'd say honestly maybe 4 times quicker, if not 5 times quicker than our carbide one right here. This one here does struggle a bit more. This one here just absolutely eats through it. However, the cut is a lot cleaner on this one right here. So we're going to flip the piece over, see what the blowout is like, and kind of go from there. But not sure if you guys can see. I might actually bring you guys in closer once we flip this piece over. But every single hole that we did with the tungsten one, with the 3 cutting tips right here, absolutely no burning whatsoever inside the holes. It looks like it's just simply eaten through it nice and easy. This one here, probably the first or second hole had the most least amount of burning. Then every other hole after that, there's all burn marks all throughout. So it really doesn't like the heat. You have to take it easy on this one here, but you do get a cleaner cut. Let's see what the blowout's like. So if we have a close look, we've got number 1 here, which is where we started with our carbide. And you can see all those burn marks on the inside of the hole. So this is the back section. And if we have a look, it's got burn marks all throughout. So it really doesn't like the heat whatsoever. It seems to come through nice and clean, no problem, and then slowly starts to burn. And I'd say that's because this block of timber is still wedged in there and it just simply doesn't like friction. If we have a look, blowout, pretty consistent throughout. There is blowout, not excessive. If we have a look at our tungsten 3-tip or 3 teeth. You can see they are fairly aggressive on the blowout. However, once again, if you are after a clean cut, always drill from one side, then flip it over, and then drill from the other side. That's going to give you a nice clean one like we did here on our first testing one. But overall, this one here is a little beast. If you're after something nice and clean, probably go for this one here. Stay away from the bimetal unless you really only want to use it just once and you might never use it again. But if you are going to use it, even every couple of months or every year or so, then I'd suggest buying the Carbide one. It was $40. So if you're not after a clean cut, this one here is an absolute beast. So in conclusion, after testing both of these hole saws here out, honestly, they're both very, very good. I just personally recommend to stay away from the bimetal hole saw, which was much, much cheaper. However, it won't last as long. So unless you plan on drilling 1 or 2 holes and that's it, you want to make sure it's a nice clean cut, by all means, go for the bimetal one. You're going to use it a couple times and throw it out, but you will get a nice finish. If you want something traditional, nice clean cuts, once again, it is a little bit slower, actually a lot slower than this style right here. However, you're going to have to pay a premium. So this one here was about $40 for the hole saw. It does cut nice and clean after about 16, 17 holes. There's no warping on the teeth whatsoever, even though we did introduce it to some heat. You can see all that burning on the timber. Still very, very nice. Probably get me another, honestly, I reckon easy another 30, 40, 50 holes with this one here, especially if I'm only doing 1 hole at a time and allowing it to cool down in between. This one, on the other hand, was $27, so it's still very, very cheap. But depending on your application, it was a lot harder to control. It just is very, very aggressive teeth. You don't have to worry about blowout as long as you drill from the top and then come back through from the bottom. You clean. You're gonna have a nice entry point anyway. But this one here is an absolute beast. It looks like brand new. It's cheap. Depending on your project or application, once again, I think plumbers will absolutely love this. Even electricians, just depending on what you're doing. Anytime you're roughing in, these ones here are going to be much, much faster, and you don't have to worry about a nice clean finish. But hopefully that this video is going to help everybody out there. You're not going to have to buy something and learn on the job or ruin a piece of material by testing out something. As always, guys, like, comment and subscribe. Until next time, I'm Bill. Thanks for watching Billshowto.